Okay, so welcome anyway. Welcome to today's webinar. For those that don't know me, my name is Darragh. That's D-A-R-R-A-G-H, but ignore the G and the H because it's just there to trip you up. I'm the CEO and founder of Noloco. For those that you don't know, Noloco is a platform to allow customers to build anything they want to run their business, but namely internal tools, client portals, custom CRMs, back office tools, any custom software that they need to run their business or that you need to run your business, you can do with Noloco. We integrate with things like Airtable, SmartSuite, SQL databases, Xano, Google Sheets, and soon some CRMs, which just giving some stuff away. But we also have our own Noloco tables if you want to get started with any of those. Today, however, we've got a really exciting webinar lined up for you, and I'll get to the introductions in just a minute, but first some housekeeping. So first of all, this webinar will be recorded. So if you need to jump off, if you want to rewind, or if you if you missed part of it, if you need to go open the door or something like that, it will be put up on YouTube probably sometime tomorrow, or depending on your time zone, maybe even later today. What was the other thing I wanted to say? The webinar will last about 60 minutes in total, or less, depending how quickly we get through the thing. But there will be time for Q&A at the end. So save your questions for the end. Depending on how many questions we get, we might answer some midway through. But there's a Q&A section there. If you can throw your questions there, we can mark them as answered. We can mark them as we will answer them live. And any just general kind of discussion, you can throw that in the chat. But the best place to throw the questions is in the Q&A section there. Okay, without further ado, I want to introduce Alex. Alex is the, founder and CEO of Sonorus Consulting. They're one of Noloco's longest partners. They're building great solutions with Noloco for, I don't know, more than 2 years, more than 2.5 years. I'm not sure. Not his first time on the webinar series. Previously some really interesting webinars. So if you do enjoy today's, go check out some of Alex's other webinars. But Alex, if I haven't mentioned anything, welcome to the webinar.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure doing these webinars. Not our first rodeo, as I like to say, but really excited to share a quick little basic, but at the same time powerful solution for content creator management agencies. This is a niche that seems to be growing massively, not just from the perspective of leads coming to Sonorus asking us to build this kind of thing, but generally, I feel like the creator economy, and I don't mean influencer economy, different things, at least in my mind. Sometimes influencers turn into creators, but at the same time, I feel like there are kind of two different things, because one makes contracts with brands, the other one actually sometimes they also make contracts with brands, but they also sell content. Regardless of the niche, so to speak, I would say that the solution that we're going to demo today really fits the bill for any sales-oriented team, I would say. You don't have to sell content. You could be selling concrete for all I care. This is a fantastic way to control how your salespeople record sales, how they can see their custom targets for the month, for the day, so to speak. And also, it's expandable. So if you want to throw in time, like clocking in, clocking out, that sort of thing. If you want to throw in something like the ability to book holidays, for instance, you can build that in. In other words, you can have one tool that you can expand infinitely to fit the needs of said team. Today, we're mainly going to showcase the recording of sales. Also, there's elements to this where you can have a very deep, a very good interactive dashboard for executive reporting, because your your frontline troops, they need to know how they're doing today. But your executives will definitely need to know what's the performance like across the team, for certain creators, for certain team members. How are we doing? How are we performing?
Who's performed well?
So yeah,
who improved last month versus this month? That
yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly.
Exactly.
And you want to take you want to be able to tell stories about the data. Not something super useful for the troops, like I said, but for the execs, it's a must. So,
and that's something any kind of sales organization needs, right? It's not
exactly.
specific to the content creator ecosystem that you're going to describe today.
100%.
I think it's
100%.
super interesting stuff here. And you know what you said as well, it's so expandable. What we're going to demo today, guys, is really a starting point, right? You can, as Alex said, you can weave in things like, you know, time off, schedules, managers, you know, the different relationships, teams, perhaps. You can kind of, again, the beauty of no code and Noloco is you can shape these solutions to fit your exact needs rather than kind of having to jam it into something that you off the shelf. So I think in this
100%.
webinar, we're going to take it in two parts, if I'm right, Alex. We're going to take first a look at just kind of the solutions you've built, right? We're going to take a look at, you know, the different roles involved, the different things they can do in their app, how that app functions and why it functions that way. And then we maybe we'll pause for some Q&A there, and then we'll look into how you've done it, you know, how you've structured tables, how you've structured, you know, the different forms, the different dashboards, that sort of stuff. And we'll kind of peek behind the scenes, I suppose, so people can get a feel for how the magic works. That makes sense?
Perfect.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to just share my screen. Here we go. Hopefully you should see my screen by now.
Sure do.
Awesome. Okay. So right now I'm logged into my Noloco portal as a sales agent, so to speak. I mean, in the creator economy, typically you have people who are in sales, but also they are called chatters because they chat with potential clients through DMs. There's tons of social media platforms that allow this sort of thing. But yeah, their job chatting with you is to sell you something. But at the same time, they need an avenue to record these sales and see how they're doing against their targets. So what you see in front of you right now is my dashboard. It's the dashboard for Michelle. Michelle is a chatter and sales agent, and she has the ability to do two things: a new sale or a custom content request. In other words, if some of the products that we sell do not exactly fit the bill of the creator, Michelle needs to have a vehicle to record such a request and tie in a sale, because obviously you want to charge the client, take the custom content request, and then the creator should be able to take care of the rest. Also, over here, you can see sales performance, today's performance, and daily sales performance. The blue line is the performance of your day. How much money did you bring in? The red line is your target. Super important to say, targets are custom per team member. So one team member can have $300 a day as a target. Another one might have 350. And that is totally editable per team member. Now, let's begin with the basics. Recording a new sale. So new sale, let's just say that it was a tip that we received from a client, $150. The date is pre-filled for us. The creator list is also unique to our list of creators. You could say your list of clients, because not every single sales guy will manage the same accounts, right? So Michelle manages Mary, and Mary has got a very specific target that she needs to reach. The way that the database is structured, and again, this is a little bit geeky, but I think for the people who are interested in this sort of thing, I think this will resonate with them. The way that the database is structured allows us to have creator contracts, and then targets for said contracts. If you want to change targets, you can, but that will roll up, reflect against that contract. So yeah, that's the way that it's set up behind the scenes. That's why I have to choose the creator that I'm working for. Noloco also pre-filters the latest contract for that creator, by the way. Of course, I have to select it. I believe there is somewhere a little setting that I believe it can be pre-selected for you. So as soon as I select Mary Doe, it will select the latest contract from Mary Doe, but for now it's a little bit manual. Also, I am filling in the chatter. In other words, the sales guy, Michelle, myself. Technically, this can be hidden, but I'm just showing this because I want to make sure that whoever's viewing this understands that Noloco knows who's logged in at the moment. And there's more to this, but this is a quick little reminder that we know who the chatter is. We can add some subscriber data. So let's say John Doe. And I can also add a related custom content request from here if I want to. Also, this is one of those details about Noloco that I really love. In other systems, I cannot prevent from I cannot prevent my users from seeing older custom requests. Here, I'm forcing this user to create a new one. You might have other content requests against your name or against one of the clients that you're managing, but here I'm able to force you to create a new one. And the experience of that is just great because it's like a nice little nifty pop-up. I can add all the data that I need to. It's just slick. So I'm not going to create a new custom order request right now. I'm just going to go straight into save. And just remember that I've got $150 down. This is a little new, it's a small detail, but here, remaining to reach target, I'm reminding the salesperson what their target is. I'm trying to remind them at multiple places. So let's save that. And as soon as that goes through, you can immediately see how my today's performance figure has updated. Also, my target has updated for the day. Let's add a new sale. This time, this is a subscription, $250. Again, for Mary Doe. Let's say it was Joe Blogs. Save. And now I've achieved my target. And the next time that I'm gonna add a sale, hey, you get like a little notification, hey, target reached, go for more. Of course, this can be, this is probably not very sexy, right? It's a small detail, but the ability to add these little details into your UI with such control, obviously you can do bigger, grander things. In other words, you could, as soon as somebody reaches their target, you could send out an email to their manager or something like that. You could send an email to the creator. You could potentially create some kind of logic that says, look, if you go 10% above your target, you're going to get a 10% bonus or something like that. But if I can achieve some kind of automation and control over some of these details, that means that some of the other things are infinitely doable. Not a lot of platforms pay that much attention to allowing us as developers to tweak the description of a field in a form. Not only just tweak it, but bring in dynamic data of that person, of Michelle. Michelle's target was reached, not somebody else. So having said that, let's jump into a new custom content request. So here I need to choose the deliverable, the channel where I'm going to be, where the creator needs to deliver this content to.
Just to pause for a second, Alex.
Yep.
I think
Okay.
what might be worth mentioning is, you know, when you
Sure.
mentioned that you clicked the plus button there a few minutes ago in the other form,
Mhm.
and you brought up that modal with the form,
Yeah.
right? This is the same form as the one you're just about to demo, right?
Yes. Bingo.
Right?
And
Yeah.
as you will see now, when I'm inside of the new custom content request form, this main form here, I can add a sales record, and the form
You
here
can do the opposite.
is,
Hmm.
yeah, it's the form that we're
Very
just
smart.
looking at. So you can do it
Brilliant.
both ways. We're trying to make it easy and fun for users, for sales agents. Um, I've worked with plenty of sales reps in my life, and they usually are super focused on targets, super focused on achieving bonuses, and they care about the money. So
Absolutely.
the easier,
I think
the
that little
easy,
detail in the amount subtext there is so key for exactly that, you know, just
the
a
easier the
reminder.
system is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
The easier the system is for a sales rep to get their head around, the more they're gonna start to use it. I've tried training sales reps to use to use any system, and occasionally I feel like email is too hard for them. So it is of paramount importance to make whatever it is that you're building for a sales team to be super intuitive, not complicated, like we like to say, idiot proof. So yeah, back to what we were sort of saying. Sorry, Darragh, I interrupted you rudely. Do you want to finish that thought? Do you
No, yeah,
have
that
any other
was
comments?
basically it. I think, you know, it's nice to kind of knowing that you don't have to recreate the form from scratch. You've got like the form in one place and
Exactly.
you've got all the same logic, variables, filters, etc., wired up together. And it's even nicer that you're doing it in both places. It's kind of circular, which is cool.
But the inverse is also possible.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in the audience, but if you need a different form, you can do it. Like you
Mhm.
can have a different form for the generic creation of a custom content request, like this basic key form. But at the same time, you can have a completely different form, maybe slightly tweaked or something like that, if you're creating a new custom content request from a sale. So this form that we saw in the model could be different to the basic one. So the default behavior is that you have one form and you use that everywhere. But if you need to have different forms, and as
Yeah.
developers, we've had this need
Mhm.
more often than I dare to admit, to have different forms. Same table, we're printing data in the same set of fields, but we need it to act slightly different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a really good point. Anyway, back to your
moving
custom
on.
content requests. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna pick the channel where the content creator needs to send the content creator, needs to send this to their Instagram account. Basically, the request details could be blah blah blah, like I want something, any kind of reference images, files, whatever. Subscriber name, again, this is like super straightforward, nothing crazy. Sales record, again, you see I'm forcing the user to create a new one. It could be a custom content request. Then again, you can choose anything that you want. Maybe that custom form thing that I was the different form would come into play here, because if I could use a different form style where custom content would be pre-filled, instead of me having to choose it. It's one click, but it makes a difference. So yeah, I've charged them $125 for this. Creator, contract, chatter, all of that is there. Press save. That record is now added against this custom content request. I can make this field required as well. In other words, you cannot submit a custom content request without a sale record against it. So that is also possible. We can also prevent custom content requests to fall under a certain amount of money. So you cannot submit a custom content request unless the value of the sale is more than $500, for instance. So,
and I guess
that's
that
all.
value could
Yep.
be custom based on the
Exactly.
seller
It
as
could-
well
it
as
could-
the creator or the target.
It could, exactly. It could be a target against
That's a really
against the
interesting,
chatter.
yeah.
It could be a target against the contract of the creator. It could be a target as part of the set of targets for a certain contract for a certain creator.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
This is what I'm
didn't
always
fry
trying
everybody's
to.
mind.
It's what I was trying to explain to people. It's like, you know, Noloco has like automations and validations, but it's this is what it's about. It's about hardwiring the rules that your business has into the processes so people can't make mistakes, because they're gonna make mistakes, and particularly
Yeah.
with data entry, right? So the more you could kind of warn them of that, or you know, flag such mistakes, because you know,
Yeah.
it might just be a typo, but it also could just be that someone has accepted a request that's below the minimum point that makes it viable, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's a brilliant.
So
plan.
submit request to creator. Now the creator tech, and you can see that my my sum of sales has gone up. I'm well above the target. Clearly, I can, and again, this is let's talk a little bit about this. So technically, it's hard to find a very good balance between having a platform that can do business analytics, like business intelligence, really well, and do the rest of the stuff. You typically have two camps, either platforms that can do portals and apps really well, or they do business intelligence. We're talking about Google Looker Studio, Power BI, Tableau, and the rest of the gamut. Noloco, in the current shape and form, at least when it comes to the people who are using this on the day-to-day, like salespeople, non-execs, I feel like it passes maybe head and shoulders over the competition when it comes to building dashboards. It's not the core thing about Noloco. You don't think of Noloco as a business intelligence platform. But even here, I can filter by range, like last 7 days, boom. Last 28 days. And my targets change. By the way, Darragh, you sneaky guy, you did this in the last week or so. This wasn't here, but this is so much of
I think we shipped that this morning, maybe yesterday afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. This
yeah, it's a long
so,
overdue.
so useful.
I see. Yeah.
So useful. So yeah, you can't achieve that. I haven't seen a lot of platforms be able to achieve this sort of ability to push the envelope just that little bit to make graphs and dashboards so much more usable for the troops on the ground. What else? Yeah, so that's basically it. I can switch to another sales person, Eve Jones. And if I switch to Eve, we'll see how the graphs will now update. We can see that her target has updated. So that's 350 right now. And I'm just waiting for it to update for a sec. I'm going to clear the range. There we go. Eve has got 305 today. So immediately you can see how her experience also has changed. You can track your sales. You can have the little forms be on the side if you want to. I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I was creating a new sale, it took me straight back to the dashboard. That is by design. Because typically with a lot of other tools, you can and I wish I was non-local payroll, but the ability to navigate to a custom place right after you submitted a form, or even on demand, like by an action button or something like that, it's rare. So here, by design, I've set it up so that as soon as this form gets submitted, I'm taken back to my dashboard. So straight back to the target. Like you're resetting the sales guy to just go at it again. What else can I say? So far, so good. Darragh, any comments?
Yeah, one thing I think maybe we'll save this for the second part, but the target line, the red line, really smart, and I love how you've done that. You know, I think people could probably take some guesses at, but I would love to kind of dig into that in a few minutes. I think
should we take any questions? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any questions in the chat. Let me just take a peek. I guess like one question, you know, that I expect people will have is just like, you know, first of all, like how customizable are these dashboards? You know, is there anything else people would be wanting to track? Obviously, this is like an individual's dashboard, but you know, is there like an admin dashboard that you could create that would create something similar?
Yeah. So part of the demo today was this. So there,
oh, nice.
You could set up Google Looker Studio dashboard like this. Typically, I'm using a tool called Coupler to connect Airtable data to GLS. But if you have some kind of line manager who needs to see everybody's performance, and instead of just being able to filter by date, I want to have the same graph, but filtered by, let's say, the creator or the team member in my team, also super doable. Needs a little bit of work, like anything, but you can do it for sure. You can control, in other words, you can control the look and feel 100% depending on what kind of level user is logged in right now. If it's a sales guy, they can see just their performance and they can allocate sales against their clients, so to speak. If it's a sales manager who has 2 or 3 sales reps below them or more, they can see the performance of their team, and they can also log sales against their team member. Maybe a team member is on the road and they just call in. I have worked with a lot of sales reps who are on the road and they're just calling in their sales.
I was going to ask actually. You know, some of these systems, like they're pretty modern, right? Like the platforms you're talking about, these chatters being on, and you know, some of them are collecting payments, say, automatically. How would you go about maybe automating part of that payment reporting part, I suppose, right? Because I imagine you might have a form that might automatically capture payments.
So yes, you could do that. I don't know the ins and outs of every single platform. Some are better than others, and some have more pre-baked functionality where you can sell a product straight from the chat with like with no third-party interference, so to speak. I need to give this client a jot form link where through which they can pay. No, you can do it better. But at the same time, I would say if there is an API, there is a way. So whichever way, well, that's very broad. If there is an API, there is a chance that something's doable, probably.
But to your point, like it could just be a jot form with a payment link at the end of it, or right, or
it's a little bit janky, but
that could be what people are using already, right?
Yeah, because 100%.
When you're in the trenches like we are, you see all sorts of things.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
That's great.
In fact, whenever you're, you could set this up in a way that you can generate a custom JotForm link that will have the client name pre-filled silently, so that when that client submits it, it will flow back into your sales table. The right client will be silently pre-filled. The chatter will be silently pre-filled. The creator will be. Their latest contract also will be. And speaking of which, technically, you can use Noloco's forms anyway.
Yeah.
Because you can take any Noloco form like this one and make it public, so that it will just be publicly available and anybody can fill this out. So why go to JotForm when you can use this?
Exactly. Leo had a good question, actually. And you might have a better answer to this than I do. So is there an integration between Noloco tables data and Looker Studio? My gut reaction is not yet, but there's ways of getting Google Looker Studio, or whatever they call it these days, Looker Studio, into Noloco. But I guess the question is maybe about going the opposite direction.
So my initial reaction to that question is probably. There's no direct connector right now, but given the fact that you can do GraphQL queries on Noloco tables, you can set things up. There are tools out there that will, if you connect a GraphQL instance to them, you can push that into GLS or any other platform. Basically, you're transforming your GraphQL, or at least one avenue for you, Leo, could be transforming GraphQL into a Postgres DB, something like Supabase. So it's not super easy right now. I feel like there could be a more direct connection.
Probably be better off just trying to use our charts, and where we fall short, maybe just let us know. We might have a workaround. I think we'll take one more question, and then we'll try and peek behind the curtain of some of this stuff. So Jean-Marc, I hope I'm saying that correctly, has asked, or has basically said, I have several pages and tables inside Coda. Could I use your tool to build an external user report based on data in Coda? Yeah, we get this question quite a lot, actually. Surprisingly, I don't know if you've ever worked with Coda, Alex, but it is something that's on our radar. And I would encourage you to basically go to our website. Up the top, there's a data tab, and one of the options will be Coda, and you can basically put your name down to be one of the first to know about it if and when we start building that. No promises here, but it's definitely something we're interested in, because we hear a lot of people like yourself, Jean-Marc, who, they have a lot of data in Coda and they want to build a better interface on top of it for their own team and also for their clients. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. Do you use Coda much, Alex?
I looked into it ages ago. Because when I was initially starting the agency, I was thinking, okay, look, I've got Airtable. That is one avenue. That's the stack Airtable plus something on the front end, and make Integromat back in the day to automate things. And the other direction was AppSheet. AppSheet being the front end, Google Sheets as the DB, so to speak. And then you could basically automate things either within AppSheet or through GScript, or again through Make. Coda was one of those platforms that I was looking at and thinking, you know what? This is interesting, but the fact that they had this whole spiel that apps are documents, and there wasn't this very solid, at least back then, haven't seen what they're doing right now. It's this, like, don't quote me on this. I haven't seen what they've done in the last 6 years. the fact that there wasn't a very solid, like with Airtable or with Google Sheets or AppSheet rather, and even Noloco in these days, there's a very clear distinction between relational database front end.
Yeah.
It wasn't that clear back then to me.
I've seen
So
them do
I was
very
like,
interesting things. I was under the impression they were basically Notion, and turns out they're a
yeah,
little bit more.
it was Notion. It's Notion. It's
Yeah.
Notion-esque.
But yeah, it's super interesting one. And yeah, Jean-Marc, if you want to talk about it more, we'd love to. Like I said, it's not something I'm totally versed on. And yeah, it looks like Alex. Right, Alex. Let's bring this home. I know we've got about 20 minutes left, and obviously I want to give people opportunity to ask some questions about the implementation of this as well. It'd be super interesting, I think, to take a look at, maybe even starting with the dashboard, because I think that's where people are going to want to. It's the most visual. It's whatever, like, So for those that don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, the switch between using your app and editing your app is really simple in Noloco. All you got to do is press the switch down there at the very bottom, what we call build mode. And for those of you on Mac, you can press Command E. For those of you on Windows, it's Control E. That'll toggle that on and off. And this just opens your sidebars, and this is kind of where everything gets edited. So on this page, it looks like you've got four components: title block, where you've got the user's custom profile picture, their name, etc. And I guess this is just done with dynamic data. So you've got their welcome first name. Are you using an Airtable user list for this, I guess?
Yes, I am using an Airtable user list for the vast majority of the user management. I don't know why I've been taught this, not taught, I'm just used to having my users in Airtable and get
if
that
that's where your data is linked
somewhere else.
No, that's the right approach. So we get asked this a lot, like, should you store your users in Noloco? Should you store your users elsewhere? The reality of it is, if all of your data is somewhere else and that data links to your users, you have to store that reference in the same place, right? And that's why we've added a user list that kind of proxies that relationship. And it's a little bit confusing, I think, to get used to at first, but it allows for that flexibility in keeping your users where they are. And then also, because you might have 3 or 4 bases, each with different concepts of users.
True.
This way you can have different attributes and stuff. So that's cool. You've got the profile picture URL, very nice. And then you've just got quick links, I suppose, to the new forms, right?
Exactly. Now, there's some interesting details in here. First of all, this is the first name of the logged in user. The URL is the profile picture URL from the logged in person. So all of this is completely dynamic. You are completely right. The little quick links, again, they just point to the correct page. No fanciness here required, I think. Just a good old title and a good old icon. That's it. Nothing,
I suppose,
nothing crazy.
What's nice about it as well, like, maybe you have a setup where, some of your sales reps or some of your chatters can't accept custom requests, right? So you could hide that option with visibility rules based on their role, that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Pretty cool.
So,
let's get into the
great idea. That's actually a great idea. So, your sales performance. So this is the easy chart. There's again nothing crazy here. In terms of the way that it's set up, we have just a chart. Sales performance, your daily target is a revenue target, and that is logged in user down to team. And in here, within team, because team is the table that connects to the Noloco users. You have to understand that there's 2 user lists. It's one, but it's 2. It's like a synced. One user list is an Airtable, and that syncs into Noloco's user list. So technically, there's one user list, the Noloco user list, but you can add pure Noloco users. You can add but you can also add people from within Airtable, and that will just append to your Noloco user list. So yeah, I'm pulling all of that basic data in. Your daily target is in the daily target. Nothing else. Options. Let's talk about some of the options. So relative filter, logged in user team sales reporting collection. Essentially, the team has got a sales reporting link. Essentially, my sales reports have loads of connections, direct connections to the creator, the chatter, and the related target as well. Am I linking it to anything else? Oh yeah, custom content requests. So technically, there's a direct connection to related custom content requests. Having direct connection helps. Having direct connections helps. It makes life a little bit easier. So logged in user, team, sales reporting collection, that filters the whole. Essentially, if you have 20 sales records across all team members, that will filter it to that person's list of sales.
Effectively, it's just that
yeah,
field that you showed us in Airtable, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then there is an extra step where I'm saying date is equal to start of the day. In other words, the date field from sales reporting, this field, is equal to the start of today. And you can use another great thing about Noloco is that we have, I like to call them utility values, or like utility basic things that we can use. Relative dates is one of them, and we also have utility values. But again, you could essentially, to me, it's all utility values provided by Noloco, but you could print an empty value, for instance, which is rare. It's difficult. People who are using Airtable, you guys know this. It's really hard to print empty something.
Yes.
It's tough. So relative dates, today's dates, start of day, that just gives you a date. Now we'll also do the full timestamp, essentially with the time involved. So we don't want that. We just want start of the day.
Yeah, so that's what's really cool about this. That means that basically this gauge goes back to 0 every day, right?
Bingo.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Automatically, nobody has to touch anything.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the chart itself? So the chart itself, again, super easy, nothing to call home about. It's a very basic gauge chart. The amount, the metric is the amount. So I'm using the amount of sales as the thing that I want to do something with. What do I want to do with that field? I want to sum it. You have other options as well, which is quite useful. And max value, the revenue target, again, from the logged in user. We've seen that before. Play around with the color scheme if you want. Visibility, again, you can show, hide it based on different rules. I'm not applying anything right now. You can add some helper text, and again, dynamic values galore. That's it. The fun begins in this chart.
It does.
This is where
I'm very curious. I think I know how you've done this, but I'm really excited to actually have a look.
So the most interesting thing I feel from a geeky perspective of this whole project that we've demoed, it's how to set up this damn red line. That is the most difficult thing, or quirky thing. Now, just to explain, I'm not using any kind of automation here. I don't have any workflows that are printing this. I don't have any automations running in Airtable. This is all done within actually within Noloco. With a little bit of trickery with Airtable. So the way that this simply put works is that my team member has got an interesting little field. Essentially, I have sales today, which is a very simple roll-up of today's sales, right? Quite straightforward. I also have an interesting little field here that says next sale is first of the day. And if it's 0, it's true. If it's not, it's blank.
Okay.
When there is a new sale coming through, and it's imperative for us to jump into the sales form, the one that we know and love, this one. There is a hidden field here. First sale of the day. That also, so that exists in my sales reporting over here as a very basic text field. So it's kind of pinpointing the first sale of that day. So maybe useful for some kind of reporting, but for us, it is useful because the target NLC within sales reporting, it works off of this tattooing of that sales process. If it is the first sale of the day, it will bring the revenue target from chatter. Otherwise, it will leave it as 0. What was happening before was that as I was adding sales, my target would duplicate every single time I had
just to spell this out for people. Alex, for each sale that gets created, Alex has one other column called target, effectively. And in that, he's putting the target. And this is what I thought you were doing, but you have overcome something I didn't think about, and I'm sure you didn't think about it when you first did it too. But effectively, he's charting both the actual revenue and the target, 2 separate series. However, because we only have one set of aggregate, like we only have one control over the aggregation, so both series get summed. The daily targets get summed, and or daily sales get summed, and that's great, but so would the targets. So you need to only set it once per day. That's exactly. I'm right. Yeah.
Yes. Bingo. So the target needs to be recorded once per day per sales agent. But it has to be recorded. And the way that I'm doing this is by simply getting Noloco inside of my form and this is a hidden field, but there is like a very simple text field. First sale of the day. If we go into hidden value, I'm going into my logged in user, team, next sale is first of day. Remember this little field that we had in team? This thing. This dynamic, so at that point, because you have to understand that, let's actually test this out. I'm going to go into my sales reporting.
To add separate aggregations.
Darragh, I love you to bits. You've got bigger fish to fry than one stupid aggregation.
No, it's a good point though. But it's a really smart workaround. That's brilliant.
So
this is why this is why you need to hire Alex, everybody, for something.
So
how much time would he save you there? You know.
Let me see. Where is my? I think that's it. Is that it? I need to see this thing go true. Oh, I'm deleting somebody else's sales, I think. Sales reporting. No, it's Michelle's from today.
That's June.
That is June. Where am I lost? Next sale is first of the day. Sales today, 525. Anyway, bottom line is that at this point, when it's a brand new day. Oh, there we go. Sorry, Airtable was late with its aggregation. So now, as you can see, I've deleted all of Michelle's sales from today, and the next sale is first of day, and that is true. Right. When I'm about to put this sale through, Noloco at this point, there you go. It refreshed. Needless to say, you don't need to refresh your screen or you need to trigger any refreshes. But at this point, Noloco knows that this value is true for this person. As I'm putting the sale through, it still is true that like the fact that this sale is the first one for Michelle. Now it disappeared.
Nice.
And
the
inside of
sales
sales
name went up.
reporting, that true has been now tattooed. If I jump into my series of into that aggregator thing that we're talking about in the charts, you will see that for my target, so I've got my sales, which is kind of easy to manage.
Yeah,
You just go sales x-axis amount. But whoever thought of well, actually, I thought of using the conditions, but actually that didn't work. So
yeah,
the
you would have still
other
had to track the first one.
yeah, exactly. So at this point, I'm actually summing up target NLC. Target NLC right now is 300. If I put another sale through, that target now will be 0. So new sale, tips, 350, Mary Doe, save. Back to my database, it's 0. Yet my sales are at 500. My target is at 300. Bit of a workaround, a bit geeky, but you can do it.
But it works.
And that's what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should pause there. We've got about 5 minutes left, so I do want to open it up to questions again, just to make sure everybody has a question opportunity to ask anything that might have kind of been raised there. There's still a few people with us, and we've had some great questions so far. So if anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat. I guess, like, while we're waiting on those, Alex, what would you do to expand this next? Like, what's kind of next steps for you in this app, if you assume you were building it for a client?
So the next step for me would be potentially creating more roles, like a sales manager role. Usually, typically in these agencies, you will have people working shifts because they chat to clients, and you want to be able to chat 24/7. So that means that you have to have shift managers or something like that, sales higher up users, not as high as executive level, but high enough to manage a team. So expanding Noloco to include a higher layer of management is definitely one of the key priorities. I think a similar project would, the trajectory would be for a similar project. The next thing that I would say needs to be more evolved is making sure that the salespeople know when their shift is. That is a very important thing. They need to communicate through one tool that I cannot make this shift because I'm sick or something like that, or I want to take holidays. So shift management, definitely big deal for people who work shifts. And again,
you've
this
got
is
the calendar component there.
Calendar component, super important. Nice. Obviously, you can hook all of this up to Google Calendar or something like that. So you can, if you want to, if you're more of a fan of using Google Cal, you can, and you can sync the two together. So shift management, that's number 2. Number 3, I would say the ability for creators to also log in here potentially and see how their contracts are performed. Because creators might have targets themselves. They want to understand how.
Not to mention they need to see the custom content requests.
True, exactly. That could be just a simple message on Slack or automated message on Slack.
But it depends how big it is. Like it could be a big production of some kind, and that might mean it's a whole project management process in its own right, which it could very easily be. It really depends, and that's exactly the beauty of these solutions. They can be molded to whatever needs you are. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, none of this related to me, if you kind of take a step back, I think you'll find that today's talk was really just a very customizable sales reporting, kind of very deep line item and kind of a target attribution dashboard, powered by Airtable and Noloco. And, it's a very versatile solution and a great starting point to kind of run your business, particularly a content creator management system, but any sort of sales-led organization. In the interest of time, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up there, but thank you everybody for your time, for tuning in, and for your great questions. Alex, where can people find more about you? You have a few things that I know you want to plug. Well, if you don't want to plug them, I'll plug them for you, because I think you've got some great resources out there for helping people.
YouTube, LinkedIn, our websites, you can find us on the directory of partners of Noloco. So
Yes,
we're there. Yeah.
Reach out.
Reach out if you've got a question, if you've got a project.
Yeah, Alex has some brilliant Airtable and Noloco tutorials, so be sure to check them out. If it wasn't clear that he knows what he's doing already, he'll convince you on his YouTube channel. But listen, thanks very much for your time, Alex, as always. Look forward to doing this again soon. But to everyone else, thanks again for tuning in. We'll likely have another one of these in the next month or two, and possibly with what's coming soon, what's new and coming soon before then. And if you haven't yet signed up for Noloco, please do check it out. It's noloco.io, and you can just sign up there, start your 30-day free trial, start creating an app like this for you and your own team. And of course, if you want help, you can sign up to get help with our brilliant experts like Alex. So thanks again. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you all next time.